Hey.
Ladies and
Look
gentlemen,
at him.
a star is born in the Crescent City, and his name is Deni Avdija.
Alright, Joe, so we just got a pretty special performance from Deni Avdija of the Washington Wizards. Now, this is a name that if you haven't heard of before, I don't blame you. He's been stuck on the Wizards' entire career. He wasn't ever projected to be a star or anything. He's just been a very solid role player so far in his career. Now, the funny thing about Deni Avdija, he's only 23, and obviously with every draft pick, it's never a sure thing that they're actually going to be a quality NBA player. But with Deni Avdija, it was probably late into his first season, maybe around his second season, that fans started to take notice that, yeah, this guy is a legit NBA role player. He's going to have a bright future in the league. And ever since that point happened, everyone's just been asking for him to get traded from the Wizards and play on an actually good team that he could contribute to. And I think the main reason behind that is because Avdija is just such a winning basketball player. When he is on the court, he is constantly making great plays that don't always show up in the stat sheet. If I had to make like a quick comparison, I kind of think of it kind of like Derek White back when he was on the Spurs. Like, yeah, everyone's aware that he is a solid, good NBA player, but he's just stuck on a really bad team right now that no one's really paying attention to, and he's waiting to be let free. Regardless, it seems that more fans are starting to take notice of Avdija because of his recent play. Just had a big 43-point career night against the New Orleans Pelicans. He's been on fire the last 6 games or so. If you look at the difference in his stats between those last 6 games and his first 48, very noticeable jump in points per game, rebounds per game, assists about the same, and he has just been shooting the hell out of the ball, getting to the rim, drawing fouls. He is taking a very unexpected leap that not many people saw coming, especially at this point in the season. So what is it about Deni Avdija that makes him such a special and enticing player when it comes to, contenders maybe looking for that final piece, or, maybe the Wizards just try and hold on to him because they see a bright future ahead of him? To give you a quick little teaser, I think this one play stood out from the Pelicans game that, in my opinion, really shows the exact value of what Deni Avdija brings to a team. He's a great player that doesn't always need the ball in his hands. As you can see on this play, he's going to set a screen, get the pass in the short roll, and kick out to Corey Kispert, who misses the 3 on the first attempt, but Avdija crashes the glass, hustles hard for the rebound, gets the ball out to his teammates, ball is swung, and the Wizards get a 3 out of it. So like I said, the stats aren't always going to pop with Avdija, but he is always making winning plays that helps his team get the dub, which I'm now realizing is an ironic thing to say since he's been on the Wizards his entire career, but you get what I'm trying to say. Anyway, when it comes to this big 43-point performance where Avdija was taking a lot of shots and having the ball in his hands for a lot of the game, I saw a lot of things that surprised me. Because real quick, I'll be honest, I have not watched a ton of Wizards games in this season for obvious reasons, so I haven't always been checking in. I've seen from past games that Avdija is a really good, exceptional role player, so to now see him play a game in this role where there's no Kyle Kuzma and he's stepping up offensively, it was fun to watch and there were a lot of new things to see. So again, back to the drives, he was extremely patient. He got fouled a bunch in this game. As I pointed out, in his last 6 games, he's averaging over 6 free throws a game. And without getting a little too ahead of myself here, he was looking kind of Luka-esque on these drives. Again, with the patience, he was taking his time, getting to his spots, backing down to the defender, and then getting to the rim pretty easily. At least it seems pretty easily from my point of view. Now, unlike Luka, Deni Avdija was also looking extremely explosive off of the catch, and this is something that has always been in the tree leaves, or however you want to say it, with Avdija's game, because he's always been a great off-ball guy, and it was much of the same here. And part of the reason he's become so dominant off the catch when receiving a pass on the wing is because he has become a tremendous 3-point shooter. He's not always going to be taking 5 threes a night, but he takes enough and hits them at a good 40% clip this season that defenses have to respect and close out on him, which in turn makes those drives to the rim off the catch that much easier. And this will be especially true if he continues to knock down extremely difficult threes like he did in this game against New Orleans. Had a step back 3 that really just came out of nowhere. He had a deep catch and shoot 3. He was hitting from everywhere. And like I mentioned earlier, a lot of the stuff that Deni does isn't going to show up in the box score as much as it should, and that is especially true on the defensive side of things. Of course, everyone was amazed by the fact that he scored 43 points in this game, but they also don't really mention the fact that he was matched up on Zion Williamson and Brandon Ingram for a majority of the game, you know, the two best offensive players on the New Orleans Pelicans. And although he gave up a good amount of buckets, because at the end of the day, you're not going to stop Zion and Brandon Ingram every possession, he did get much more stops, many more stops than most players would in the NBA. He's going to give you some rim protection, he can chase guys around ball screens, he can guard in isolation. There are very few things that Deni Avdija cannot do on the defense side of the court, and even though he doesn't excel at all these things, he is above average at most of them. And when it comes to Avdija's passing, this is another area where he is just really solid at that area of his game as well. Not only is he a great connective passer, but he continues to show great flashes of being able to drive and kick to his teammates. Again, I mentioned how good of a driver he has been this season and in this game in general. And it's always a good sign to see players with that driving ability also be able to kick out, dump it off the teammates, and make some just really nice crisp passes. Not to mention, he's also just a good rebounder of the basketball. He is someone that can grab a defensive rebound after playing some really good defense and just immediately push the ball up the court, get the defense off balance, and create offense for his teammates. Overall, there are very, very few things on the basketball court that Deni Avdija cannot do. And I'm going to bring back my Derek White comparison real quick, just because I feel like a lot of people are aware of how great of a role player White is in Boston, and the fact that he can provide whatever the Celtics need at any given game, depending on who's hurt, who's on the court, you know, just the tempo of the game in general. He can go get you 25 points, he can go get you, 7-8 assists, he can go get you like 3 blocks. And I just see a lot of those same things in Deni Avdija. The part of the reason why he was able to have such a big game in this one was, again, because Kyle Kuzma was out, so he went and filled in that Kyle Kuzma role. There was even a point in this game where Washington sent out a lineup of Deni Avdija with, it was Jordan Poole, Landry Shamet, Corey Kispert, and Rashawn Holmes, and Deni Avdija was full on running the point guard position and doing a great job, running screens, setting up plays, setting up his teammates, driving to the rim when it was profitable for him and the Wizards. He's just able to wear so many hats that if he is now also capable of going and get you 25, 30 points somewhat consistently, then in my opinion, Deni Avdija is easily going to solidify himself in that top tier of NBA role players that every team wants to have on their roster. And again, I'll throw in the fact that he is only 23 years old, so despite the fact that he's going to be on probably every trade rumor imaginable while the Wizards are still a very bad team, I wouldn't be surprised at all if they try and lock him up for quite some time. I know he's on a tremendous contract right now. I think he's on like year 1 of a 4-year contract where he's going to be making $11 million in the last year of his deal out in 2026, 2027, whatever year it is. And all things aside, I think it is extremely safe to say that by that point, by the time we hit that year and Avdija is on the last year of his contract making that money, it's safe to say that's going to be one of, if not the best contract in the entire NBA. That's all I got for this one. As always, if you enjoyed, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all of those good things, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.